To be honest with you, I don't understand why this hasn't happened across the country. And I think this is going to spread. McDonald's banning people under 20 years old. I think this is going to start happening across the country if they do it in the right way. Because you know it like I do. If you pull up to a restaurant and you see a crowd of kids and teens or young adults, you're either going through the drive-thru or you're going somewhere else. So we're going to check out this video of McDonald's bans everyone under 20 in New York as crime explodes. Check it out.
Well, a owner of a McDonald's says that he is tired of unruly young people terrorizing his restaurant, and now he's forcing customers to show their ID to get inside, and anyone under the age of 20.
So one McDonald's has started carding people to try and limit gang activity, but it's not the only location in town reeling from an increase in crime. Some restaurants have rolled out security guards to keep the bad guys from coming inside and enjoying their own version of a Happy Meal, while others are barely hanging on as they display the visible signs of a society that's collapsing all around them.
Now this is true. I was just in New York at the beginning of March, and it looked like you were walking inside of a club and the security is standing there at the door checking everyone's ID before you get in. That's what it looked like. It's beyond belief when you see it for the first time. It's beyond belief, man. But I'm telling you, that's what we're gonna probably see soon everywhere.
Kinda like this one right behind me.
But most customers say the age restriction is a good thing, and so are the 3 security guards posted at the entrances, because teenagers from nearby high schools have turned the fast food restaurant into a local fight club.
McDonald's locations are all too often the scene of violent crimes, and both the victims and perpetrators can often be young.
They were panicking. Yeah. Some of the guys were calling somebody were calling 911, and then like in a few minutes, the police came.
I don't know why people pick this as their fight location, but it's unfair.
They're crazy in this McDonald's, and they do too much. They jump people, jump delivery workers, jump the security.
Why do I want to deal with all of that? Why? 9 times out of 10, even though I don't eat McDonald's, but let's just say fast food in general, 9 times out of 10, I'm in a hurry. Meaning I don't have the time to cook tonight, so I'm springing in here just to get something quick and for the family. I'm trying to be in and out, hence fast food, in and out. The fact that I gotta go in here, look over my shoulder, dodge incidents after incidents, pay attention to everybody who's in, like, no. Like, no, this is ridiculous.
That's your stuff, cussing like a sailor. You can't turn around and say nothing to them. You understand what I'm saying? You got to know when to shut your mouth.
The teens add they're used to being ID'd since the Target around the corner also doesn't allow those under 18 in without an adult.
Police have been called to this location 29 times this year. 29 times. And it's not even March yet.
Dang. And they don't even respect it. What happened to respecting the elders? An elder checked you back in the day. You respect. I don't care how unruly you was. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. I'm sorry, ma'am. I apologize. I apologize. And don't let her know your parents. She gonna check you for real. What happened? What happened?
Crime in New York is now so bad that soon regular businesses could all have to start checking ID. But what nobody's talking about is that many McDonald's in this city have become problematic hotspots for crime, and it's been that way for a long time, and the problems in these stores mirror what's going on in our subway system. However, this isn't the fault of the brand or the majority of law-abiding McDonald's customers, or even the store employees who are on the front lines of New York City's losing battle against street.
Did y'all see that? Look at the glass with the cashier stand behind. Now, I know I ain't been in a McDonald's in a minute, but normally you go to the register, it's open. Look at this.
Or even the store employees.
Look at that. Look at the glass they stand behind. That alone lets you know what they have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. I wouldn't want to work there. I wouldn't. Like, no, that's crazy to have that type of glass up to separate you from the customers for your safety.
who are on the front lines of New York City's losing battle against street crime, which unfortunately manifests itself in a variety of ways. We're talking crazed maniacs who try to jump the counter, gangs who use these places as target practice, and the former governor of New York, David Patterson, was even attacked in front of a McDonald's this past summer. But while the company is doing everything it can to limit how close its employees actually need to get to customers with things like app-based technology and touch-style ordering kiosks, danger still works its way into the front door of some of these locations.
Which brings us to the real reason these places are both hotspots for crime and magnets for gang activity. They're located in a city that would rather enable its criminals than punish them.
Which became frighteningly obvious last fall when a McDonald's in Manhattan's exclusive Upper West Side was overrun by gang members during a street fight, causing that entire restaurant to be evacuated with customers leaving their half-eaten meals behind.
And as you're about to see, a bunch of these places have crime problems that are so bad, checking ID won't stop them.
What is up with the orange juice here? Why is it so concentrated? I actually like it. It's full of sugar. But I will tell you, while I feel safe hanging out inside this McDonald's, the other one I was at earlier, there was something going on with that place. I always see people selling stuff to each other, doing something outside or inside. There's people sleeping all over the place, and
yeah, that's what I kept noticing. Like the dude sleeping on the table, bro. No, somebody need to sit down and eat there. Like, y'all are gonna be the reason, and this is why people are upset, because y'all are forcing people to say, okay, I need to eat at home, buy groceries. But groceries are expensive right now. So yes, now I'm frustrated. I can't go get a quick meal. I need to cook. So I got to make time for me to cook. But now I got to worry about eggs being the price of, and I know they came down some, I heard, but groceries being high right now. Like, no, this is not the world I want to live in. Do you?
they're adults, so carding them won't keep them out.
One McDonald's in Brooklyn is barring anyone under the age of 20 from entering their restaurant without an accompanying adult.
A sign went up on the door announcing the policy change last week, and it comes after several incidents at that location.
So this particular location in Brooklyn, I've been there. It's by a whole bunch of schools, and it is kind of a rowdy location, but apparently their main problem is with large gangs of teenagers congregating inside the store, and they're not the only business with this problem. The Target nearby that location's also started carding people, and there are some malls in this city that won't allow anybody in without a parent if they're under 18 either. But before we get into why that...
Unfortunately, what's going to happen is this is going to turn into the Oakland situation in California. Remember, this is what this is going to turn into. And these businesses, they're going to leave. Skedaddle. They're going to vanish. And it's just going to be a building there. And then they're going to tag it, and then it's going to look terrible down there. And that's what's going to end up happening. You ain't going to have no businesses. You're going to wonder, well, what happened to this area of New York? It used to be so beautiful. It used to be so many people. Man, remember the days. That's all you're going to have. It's memories. Because the teens screwed it up for everybody.
That particular location is so dangerous, and why some of the other locations in town have such extreme problems, it's important to understand how insane it is that a store has to ban its own customers in order to keep its doors open. Because that right there is the problem that underpins every single issue these stores are having. For example, the Upper West Side McDonald's that was taken over by gangs on Halloween after weapons were used just outside the restaurant, it's in an area where there were never any police, but where there was lots of gang activity taking place. And since the city won't stop the gang activity, it sometimes makes its way inside these places. And as you're about to see, there are some instances where checking ID won't do anything to stop even people who are under 18 from taking over these restaurants.
He says there were about 5 or 6 people running toward the McDonald's.
They were panicking. Yeah. Some of the guys were calling somebody were calling 911, and then like in a few minutes, the police came.
The police and...
So that right there is the aftermath of a street fight that took place outside of a McDonald's in what many would consider to be a nice neighborhood that then made its way inside the very store, forcing everyone there to leave and the police and an ambulance to arrive. And when armed felons are charging into...
So now you go to McDonald's and get a Big Mac, and now you gotta get a Big Mac and an eyewitness statement. That's what you order. That's what come with it. You order a Big Mac and it come with an eyewitness statement. Because you got to go outside and tell what you just saw that happened. No, I didn't sign up for that. That wasn't supposed to come with my order. No. Bro, starting to hate it.
To your business, I'm not really sure what 1 or 2 security guards checking ID are going to be able to do about that. However, having security in these places is almost a necessity in such a high crime city, because the last thing you want is for gangs to be congregating and plotting from inside the very restaurant. That's just going to act as a magnet for more criminal activity. And you certainly don't want people selling things that are illegal in these places either. And that right there is the big problem that a lot of the places in the area I'm in are experiencing.
But most customers say the age restriction is a good thing, and so are the 3 security guards posted at the entrances, because teenagers from nearby high schools have turned the fast food restaurant into a local fight club.
I don't know why people pick this as their fight location, but it's unfair.
So what's really unfair is that since we don't have law and order in this city, it's up to McDonald's to police itself, and it's up to customers inside these places to watch their backs. And if you thought McDonald's prices were too high, think of what a local restaurant's gonna have to charge if they have to hire a security team. Those security guards' paychecks are coming out of the pockets of the customers, and it just creates a ripple effect. First,
now that I think about it, when McDonald's started seeing more like loitering and people hanging out and standing around, when they started offering free Wi-Fi, remember that? I just thought about that. Because when I used to work at the collection, it was a collection agency, right? In Marietta off of Delk Road that I used to work at. We would take a break, go on our breaks or our lunch, and go right to that McDonald's there, and then sit there either in the parking lot or inside on that free Wi-Fi until it was time for us to go back to work. And we would do that most days, you know? So now that I'm thinking about it, that's probably when they started seeing an influx of people. And then one thing leads to another, and now you got gangs showing up there. You know what I mean? That's where I think back to when I started seeing a lot of people just hanging around McDonald's.
the store has to charge more money to keep itself secure, and after the amount of money that it charges goes up, the second thing that happens is less people are going to shop there, eat there, you know what I mean. And as less people come in the doors, the store's going to have to get more lax with who it lets in, and then the criminal element out on our streets is going to find its way inside once again. It's a losing battle that our businesses are fighting, and they're not equipped to fight this battle alone. They should be getting help from the city, but they're not. And as you're about to see, just putting on the outfit of a security guard and going to one of these places, that right there could make you a target for criminals who fear nothing.
They're crazy in this McDonald's, and they do too much. They jump people, jump delivery workers, jump the security.
Some point out the children need a place to come.
Yeah, it's almost an invite when you throw that security shirt on. Like, they literally probably need to do like they did to the subway. And which sucks, and you shouldn't have to do that anywhere, but you probably gonna have to dispatch a National Guard or a police officer is gonna have to make that his designated post or something like that in order for things to slow down. Cause that security, that's not gonna. It's good. Don't get me wrong. For most teens, you can probably, but some of them, nah, that ain't slowing them down. That's an invitation. Who you think you is? That's what they thinking in their mind. Who do you think you think you finna stop me? Oh, nah. Them dudes is gonna come even harder now. And you know, like he said, they got numbers. They're showing up there in packs. You're gonna need multiple security there for that. And not the ones that just got flashlights either. Sucks to say that. But you're gonna need some dudes who are armed and have some type of possible military training.
Congregate and after-school options. And locals tell Fox 5 a new recreation center should be opening soon. But NYC...
Okay, so if the people in the McDonald's are jumping the security guard, I'm not sure they're gonna qualify on a behavioral level to be allowed into whatever rec center we need to stop gang activity from happening. And to be honest with you, this isn't really an access to resources problem, even though that's how local progressives want to spin it. Here in Midtown, they blame every problem making its way from the streets into our businesses on on a lack of resources. Not enough rec centers, not enough after-school programs, not enough treatment facilities, not enough outreach workers. But here, in an area of town that has a notorious crime problem, you have a plethora of treatment facilities all down the street from stores like the one I'm sitting in right now, which locals say just act as a magnet for criminal activity. And that's because if you're gonna give out free resources, but you're not gonna also give out consequences for dangerous, disruptive behavior, those resources are just gonna enable more of that behavior. And the crime problems you've got are just going to get worse. Today's stories reveal that we live in a world that is out to get. This is why I'm excited with a VPN on internet service. Unsafe Wi-Fi. You'll want to protect yourself from people who are single household. Your 6work.com Cash Jordan to get 4 extra months of Surfshark. So here we are inside Penn Station, the scene of an ongoing humanitarian crisis beneath the streets that we were just standing on. And critics say part of the reason for that is because people are allowed to engage in whatever type of criminal behavior they want in a public setting and absolutely nothing ever happens to them. Plus, this is a neighborhood with tons of resources available for free, which are here to supposedly help people. And if you're gonna let people be criminals while giving them free resources, that's just gonna enable the criminal lifestyle they've decided to engage in. And this isn't limited to just what you see going on down here.
And the way I was hearing it with some of the people that are sleeping there, staying there, they want to be there. They don't want to go to the resources and the help centers and stuff like that. So at that point in time, you have to remove them. You have to remove them. At what point in time are you going to keep the people safe? Instead of just talking about it. When are you going to be about it? When is there going to be some action that take place? When we were up there, I told my family, first and foremost, do not ask me to take the subway. Just don't do it. We're not taking the subway. We're not. It's not safe. I done reacted to too many videos on there. You know what I mean? We can go to New York because, of course, you go up there. Everybody wants to visit New York. Everybody wants to go to Times Square. Cool, we can do that. And we did that. But the subway, and then when we were walking through Times Square, wifey stopped and she looked down the stairs to the subway and her eyes got big. I said, I told you. She could see it from the street just looking down the stairwell going to the subway. She was like, oh my God. I was like, exactly. Why do you want, no, we're not doing that type of tourist stuff. You know what I'm saying? No, we're going to stay above ground and we're going to walk and we're going to be safe. And we're not going to stay here all day. No, we in and out, experience. Then we leaving. Especially before it get dark and the craziness start. We want to be out of here. So yeah, that whole subway experience, man, I suggest you don't do it until things get better. But you're taking chances into your own hands if you do.
Oh no.
They're reckless and as ruthless of a crew as we've seen.
And they're young, some as young as 11 years old. Police say they first targeted Central Park this summer, and now Times Square is their playground.
So here we have a gang of teenagers who live in one of the city's asylum shelters. Now, they get to live there for free, and their ability to live there is not in jeopardy if they use that place as a facility to plan and commit crime all over town, which is what they're doing as members of a very dangerous gang. But in
what sense does that make? Absolutely, your spot should be in jeopardy if you go out, commit crimes and do violent things. Yes, your spot should be gone. No, you don't get to go out all day, wreak havoc on the entire town and the city, and then come back here and lay your head peacefully. How? Oh, no, bro. Like, we got the wrong people in charge of these things, obviously, because they just being a little too soft. If they're going to commit crimes and violent activity out in the city, then what makes you think they're going to stop when they come back to that place where they lay their head and there's other people in there? If they wake up and feel the urge to want to do something to somebody in there, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. Like, no, like, what? I don't understand, man. It's not that hard. It's not that hard.
New York, we passed a law called Raise the Age, and what it says is that people aren't criminals even if they commit crime if they're under 18. And that's why you've got an unstoppable crime problem in Midtown. That's why you've got an unstoppable crime problem at some McDonald's that now have to ban teenagers. That's the only way to stop the problem, because people can be inside a McDonald's or out on the streets, do whatever they want, get transferred to the back of a police car, and then they get released back to whoever their guardian is. And while local progressives love to talk about how these laws keep good kids out of jail and out of a life of crime, on the other hand, these laws just enable criminals to do the same thing over and over again, which is bad because practice just hardens and trains criminals, teaching them how to engage with law enforcement and how to evade arrest next time. Because if nothing is going to stop someone from committing unlimited amounts of crime, there will always be a next time.
There have already been nearly 30 911 calls to this location in this young year, which is set to exceed the past 3 years, during which more than 100 911 calls were made for this location every year. And with that, the new door.
So 911.
Who wants to work there? Talk about a hostile work environment where every second you looking over your shoulder or paying attention to the door, trying to profile the next person that comes through the door. Because that's what you basically doing all day. And now you're not to worry about if I got to run to the back, find something to hide behind, take cover. You seen he done showed probably about 4 or 5 or plus times in this video the gunshot through the glass, the bullet through the glass. No, not at no McDonald's, bro. How much they even paying at a McDonald's? You know what? Yeah, let me look that up. I want to look that up. What is the salary? Average salary for McDonald's worker. Let's see. In Georgia, the average in Georgia is $25,000 per year, which is around $12.19 an hour. So you want me to dodge bullets for $12 an hour? Not doing it. Not doing it. Never doing it.
Calls to the McDonald's full of teenage gang members have tripled. Is anyone really surprised knowing what we now know about how this city operates? And if no law exists to stop someone from engaging in criminal behavior when they're under the age of 18 and terrorizing people, the only way to keep them out is to just ban them from coming in the first place. Make that against the law. And that is a shame, because if a police car and jail time don't exist as a final consequence of bad behavior, society just ends up paying the price. Now our restaurants become less convenient. Now our streets become less safe, all because we've decided that a criminal element destroying society should be allowed to keep on doing so in the name of social justice. And the only time people ever get punished in a society like this is when they do something really bad and somebody suffers irreparable harm. Is that really the kind of society that we want? Because that's the kind of society we're getting. It's the kind of society we have right now. And nobody's taking what is a massive problem seriously enough here.
They snatch your stuff. They cussing like a sailor. You understand? You can't turn around and say nothing to them. You understand what I'm saying? You got to know when to shut your mouth.
So the law-abiding are suffering from a lack of laws. None of the stuff that people are upset about is a crime in the eyes of our legal system. And if
you know what they should do, or what we'll probably see happen, them do like they did in El Salvador, where you have soldiers or police or whomever patrolling the streets, walking down the streets with like assault weapons in their hands and having to stand and post in front of businesses and homes and flooded the streets. That's what you're going to end up seeing, to where you walk outside your home one day and there may be somebody standing there with an assault weapon and a gun, just standing at their post waiting on something to go down. And as soon as they see it, they either addressing it with their hand, with the weapon, or they throwing them in the back of the van and hauling them off to an El Salvador style prison. That's what you're going to end up seeing pretty soon.
If you think standing up to these thugs yourself is a good idea, we all know of one guy who almost had his life destroyed by this city when he stood up to somebody who threatened others in a public setting. And you'd be stupid to think that same fate doesn't await you or anyone who wants to stand up to teenagers who aren't even criminals as far as our society's concerned. And everyone in this city knows that if you get into an altercation in a place like McDonald's or on the train or on the street, your best bet is to just surrender. And if you've got a crime problem in your business, the only solution to it is to ban people who are too young to be considered felons. Otherwise, keeping your doors open to everybody just makes your business a place where criminal activity could explode at any moment.
But it's not entirely clear how the age restriction is being enforced. These high school students walked right in. The security guard even held the door for them.
I mean, we do look like we're probably gonna go get food. It's kind of odd that you're like, oh, you gotta be 20, and then I walked right in.
They had it as 18 at first, and now they put it up to 20 in Brooklyn.
So this store right here, it's got cameras all over the place. All of these stores do. And you know what? Whoever runs that McDonald's that's carding people, they know who the criminals are that are heading into their store causing trouble. And of course, they want as much business as they can get. And they're not going to deny regular customers who aren't troublemakers or people who don't appear threatening. And of course, once this works, and the security guards let all the nice people in and keep the bad actors out, some progressive lawmaker is going to put a stop to it right away because it's working. And as our streets continue to get more dangerous and our laws continue allowing petty criminals unlimited second chances at places like McDonald's, local businesses are just going to have to be creative if they want to exist in a society that's falling apart. Because it doesn't look like we're headed in a direction where the problems happening in our public spaces are ever going to be the city's problem. And as obviously bad as things are right now, it seems like this trend is going to continue until the people who have to live with this on a daily basis realize it and start voting against it. What do you think about that? Are New York City's laws the reason we've got a crime problem here, the reason we've got gang problems inside our McDonald's? And what do you think the proper solution to stopping it is? Should people go to jail? Or are unlimited second chances too few? Should we figure out a way to give people more second chances? Maybe that'll fix it. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.
Listen, man, this ain't just about New York. It's happening everywhere. Everywhere. Like I said earlier, I know when I pull up to certain spots, and even before that, you know in your mind what spots you're not even gonna pull up to where you live at. You know that's a bad area, maybe gang infested, you know it's a lot of activity. So you're less likely to even go that route. So we're not even talking about those places. Then if you pull up to somewhere you were going, maybe you found it on TikTok or something, you want to experience something new, but you pull up there and you see a lot of young activity. You're less likely to probably get out the car. Now, aren't you? It's true. It's happening everywhere, man. And like I said, man, I find more solace at being at home and just not being bothered with it, because you can't even go to the spots that you used to love to go to have a good time or date night or spontaneous, just go there and just chill. You no longer can do that at places now. So home has to be your sanctuary oasis to be able to do everything that you used to do outside. It is what it is, man. Y'all let me know what you think. I'm gone. Peace.